So for my discussion, I wanted to talk about Miyatsuki and the way he was able to shift the story kind of away from the traditional fantasy and rather used Howls experiences to more show the emotional damage that was caused to Howl through the war. So rather than typically how war movies are focused on heroism, the film more emphasized the relationships that happened and the personal connections through that experience and made the character show more of how war threatened that love between characters. So through Howl, he was kind of presented more of a powerful message as a character and showed the importance of protecting the people we care about, but also just in general humanity and sort of avoiding war at possible and the damage it just causes around society. So Miyatsuki was able to show those horrors of the war kind of by focusing on how Howl pulls away from the people around him and all the people that make him who he is, and the people you are surround yourself as part of who you are. And each time Howl was going into battle, he physically was transforming, and specifically into that bird-like creature, which was frightening. But scenes like this kind of show the pain, and typically it's not so much like this. Miyatsuki made it more painful than exciting, and this makes it clear that war is obviously not something that people are drawn to. It's not something that's peaceful in general. And one important moment I thought is when Howl flies into battle that night. You can tell just by the scene it was dark and eerie and pretty chaotic, but when he was returning, he was pretty exhausted and he wasn't returning to himself. So the war kind of shifted who he was, and Sophie had to help him kind of figure out who he was becoming and if he was able to come back to his original self. She also physically was taking off that black residue that was on him, and it doesn't just affect now Howl, but it affects Sophie, and that shows how when people go off to war, it's not just about the person at war, but also the family that is left behind and all the people that love them too. So it changed him emotionally and physically. His transformations show how war can take away his humanity, and Sophie too showed her worries that he may never come back to his true self, which was sad, and it's a true reality for so many people. But this reflects how violence just has permanent damage to the people, and it's so important to have a loving group of people around you to help you stay yourself through these times. And emotionally, he just became more fearful and vulnerable because he was put in that war. But despite his confident appearance, he admits that fighting mainly was just to protect Sophia and the people he cares about, or Sophie and the people he cares about. But this reveals that love, not power or pride, and truly motivates him in his actions. So I feel like peace and love were definitely prevalent, but it was kind of not being fully shown because it was the cost of violence. So the ending symbolizes love and peace over victory, mostly a typical theme, but when Howl was able to regain his heart, it symbolized his ability to fully love Sophie again, but also to allow his guard to go down and be loved again. So I thought Miyatsuki shows that choosing compassion and loyalty to loved ones is more powerful than choosing violence. And I feel like that goes so much to show that violence truly can just be so damaging. It's best to avoid it if possible.